A brutal rapist attacks Fredrica Gray, and she sets a daring and dramatic trap for revenge.
I was just outraged that someone would come into my house and perpetrate this.
To catch a rapist. They're handsome, sexy, and rich. Gene Wolfe goes one-on-one with America's first family of film.
He has two tough acts to follow, his father and his brother.
Inside the Douglas Dynasty. A beautiful surrogate mother has a fiery affair with the adoptive father, and Mary Garofalo discovers life and love turned upside down.
Now, just when you think this story gets about as bizarre as it can be, it gets even worse.
Baby boom. Plus, George Chicarone talks to the town official who's busy defining the bottom line. And Bill McGowan meets the model who's worried about photos that leave her overexposed.
What's your worst fear about these pictures?
They're private, they're private, they're private.
Hello, everyone. I'm Maureen O'Boyle. Welcome to A Current Affair Extra. When a man named Johnny Williams brutally raped Fredrica Gray, he picked on the wrong woman. Quick-thinking Fredrica wasn't willing to become a victim, and though she couldn't stop the attack, she was determined to stop her attacker from striking again. In an incredible act of daring, she and police set a trap that became her way to catch a rapist. Most rape victims remain anonymous. Newspapers don't print their names. Television programs don't show their faces.
Generally what we see is that only 1 out of 10 people who are sexually assaulted in the United States report their crime to the police.
But this woman wasn't frightened into silence.
I was just outraged that someone would come into my house and perpetrate this kind of act. This violence.
Fredrica Gray knew about rape. As director of the Connecticut Commission on the Status of Women, she'd even helped write a hospital manual for rape victims. But one day, Fredrica learned about the pain and terror of rape firsthand.
There I was, another statistic.
Fredrica didn't allow herself to become just another statistic. She helped catch her attacker and put him behind bars. And it didn't stop there. She went public with her story, detailing the attack in front-page newspaper articles.
Somebody's got to talk about this. The most telling statistic about rape is the fact that 1 out of 3 women will be sexually assaulted during her lifetime.
I would shudder to be the victim of. It is the victim of this crime, because not only will you suffer the pain and the anguish of the most horrendous of physical assaults, but then you'll be assaulted by society in ways in which you never would have imagined.
This is not a typical rape case. Fredrica was attacked by a stranger. Most victims are attacked by someone they know. Freddie caught her rapist. Most women are too traumatized or frightened to even identify the attacker.
Any place can be the wrong place at the wrong time if you're a woman living in this society.
The wrong place for Fredrica was her own home. She had stayed home from work that day, sick with a severe cold. It was the same day that 22-year-old Johnny Williams chose to stalk her neighborhood.
He rode up and down the street on his moped, looking for someone. When I asked him if he knew her, he said no. And I said, well, how did you pick her house? He says, well, it's easy to tell single ladies. He says they always have small cars.
The doorbell rang, and I thought it was the news carrier, and it wasn't. There was a guy at the door, and he said, is Kevin there? And I said, oh, you have the wrong house, and closed the door. He looked like a person who was delivering oil or, some sort of, he looked like a delivery person.
He then went back across the street, sat on his moped, and watched for an hour. And he could see only one shadow behind the shades, walking back and forth, so we knew that she was home alone.
The doorbell rang about 6 again, and I went again to the door and answered it, and there it was the same man. And he said, is your husband home? And before I could get an answer out, He was pushing his way through the door, and we were in a very big fight. And I screamed, and I flipped the light switch on and off. I didn't know if I was going to live. The only thing I could think of to tell him was that I was homesick because I had AIDS. And I tried that, and I said, if you don't believe me, you know, there's a bottle of medicine. And I pointed toward the table in my room where the bottle was. That didn't help. And I was sexually assaulted, and I just decided that I was going to have to somehow live through this. I hoped that I would live through it.
The trick ultimately helped catch the rapist. Williams took Freddie's cold prescription with him, thinking it was AIDS medicine. Then he asked for her phone number. Fredrica gave him a fake name and a real phone number.
I knew that if someone called the house and asked for the wrong person, asked for Rita, that it would be him.
That very night, someone called the hospital Freddie had been taken to, asking if a patient named Rita Garay had AIDS. Police felt the caller would probably try Freddie's house next, and if the call could be traced, they'd have the rapist.
She did not want to go back to the house. It took a lot of convincing. I promised her we wouldn't stay there more than 2, 3, 4 hours, that I'd be there the whole time with her, and nothing was going to happen except we were going to record the phone call, see where it came from.
And we went inside and waited. And within an hour, I would say, the phone call came in. And here he was. I was amazed. And he was on the phone, and he said, "What are you doing?" "Hi, what are you doing?" "This is the guy who was at your house the other night." As though he had stopped in for a cup of coffee and a sandwich.
She just carried on this story about, you might have raped me, but I'm going to live. I might live. You're going to die because there's a new medicine on the market, and I'm the first person to ever try it.
I remember asking him what his symptoms were. And he said, "My bones be cracking." And I said, "Oh, that's really bad."
And then I could just hear her saying, "Hello? Hello?" And she hung up the phone. I said, "Freddie." I said, "What happened?" She says, "He said he'd be here in 10 minutes to get my medicine."
They decided to have Williams come through the front door so that Crombie could corner him.
He came in, and he was very nervous. Very nervous. I think he sensed that something was going on. And he said, "You ain't going to shoot me." And I said, "I should shoot you. But I won't." And as he started to come across the floor, Pete Crombie came out with his gun drawn.
She immediately started screaming, "I didn't rape her, I didn't rape her." And then she just kind of collapsed and just started sobbing. She knew it was over.
But it wasn't over. After Williams went to jail, Fredrica started getting letters from him.
Horrible, horrible letters. No one, for a long time, for months, could stop him from sending these letters out of the prison. And every time I got them, I felt that I was being assaulted all over again, and I'd have to live with that all over again.
Johnny Williams pleaded guilty to rape and received a 13-year sentence. Unlike most rapists, Williams was treated for mental illness.
People who commit crimes of sexual offense may suffer from a mental illness, but more often than not, they do not.
He was then transferred to a maximum security prison. His mother believes his mental illness will make him repeat his pattern of violent behavior, that he might even rape again.
He'll come out and stay for a few months or a couple of days, and he's right back into jail again. It could be a reoccurrence. And this time it might be you. Someone in your family.
Fredrica's courage helped her catch a rapist and turn a victim story into a survivor's triumph.
I'm moved. I'm feeling healthy. I can laugh again. I tell jokes now. You know, for a really long time I couldn't do that.
Fredrica Gray knows that even when you do the right thing, you can't always protect yourself, but you can fight back.
People say you can't change the culture. I say we have to change our culture. That's the real job. That's the task.
Now, we'll be right back with the model who's fighting for custody of nude photos.
Pictures. It's pictures. It's these little pictures.
She made a fortune exposing her fabulous legs. Now she's worried her estranged husband will expose a lot more. That's next. And later, the king-size star with a pint-sized problem.
Think about some of your toughest stains. Your most difficult. Your most painful. For these, you might think of trying a pre-treater.
Think again of Era Plus. Here's why. This pre-treater can't beat this grass stain, even with detergent. But watch Era power through with just a spray of water. So when you think of stains, think of this, Era Plus, the power tool for stains.
Now back pain doesn't have to ruin another night's sleep. Introducing new Doan's PM. Doan starts with a unique pain reliever these brands don't have, then adds a second ingredient to help you sleep. New Doan's PM for nighttime back pain.
Ragu introduces Chicken Tonight simmer sauces, and suddenly... I feel like chicken tonight, like chicken tonight. Try Chicken Cacciatore, full of real vegetables and herbs. So you just brown, simmer, and serve. Chicken tonight.
Being photographed is an everyday event to beautiful Helen Selby. Her looks and her legs have made her one of the world's top models. But Helen regrets being part of one particular photo shoot that produced some explicit pictures. Bill McGowan discovered the trouble all began when her husband said, "Legs, get naked."
She has the kind of elegance and beauty many find mysteriously exotic. And she's used it to sell everything from pantyhose to soda pop. Model Helen Selby's wealth and fame come from her ability to feel comfortable in front of a camera. These cameras, however, don't put Helen at ease. Not after becoming embroiled in a scandal worthy of the tabloids she once peddled.
Are people with inquiring minds.
Like me. So I've always been careful and protected myself. Maybe I was stupid. I never thought I'd have to protect myself within the marriage.
Professionally, Helen has turned down many jobs which called for nudity, but she has obliged her husband, photographer Richard, who published this book of artistic poses some years ago, pictures which appeared in Penthouse last year.
There's some that he used for that book, of course, but then I was very much aware of what those pictures are.
What Helen isn't aware of is the whereabouts of hundreds of other nude photos her husband took. These not so artistic, in fact some downright explicit.
They're not with any individual, they're just with me. I'm going to be very generic, I suppose, in different series of undress, in different positions. They are a turn-on. They are a turn-on. They're used for stimulation. That's what they are.
In the past, Helen claims her husband Richard used the photos for his own excitement. But now that they're splitting up, Helen fears her husband will use the naked pictures as a weapon in what's become a nasty divorce.
What is it about them that upsets you? Just the fact that...
They're private. They're private, they're private, they're private.
What's your worst fear about these pictures?
Gosh, that I'd one day be walking down the street and there's this magazine with my photograph on it, and I just absolutely, I think I'd vomit. Or I'd, you know, just on the cover or something, I just fall down.
Richard Selby has not actually threatened to sell or distribute Helen's raunchy snapshots, but Helen is worried that he has so far failed to comply with a judge's order to return them to his wife.
He has no right to publish these photos. In a book that was previously published, that was with the consent and the active involvement of his wife, and she had control over the art product and the distribution. These other pictures, it's more graphic, and it's much more sexually explicit.
It's just that he wants money. And whether I get hurt or not doesn't even come into the picture. It's just greed.
So you feel like you're being blackmailed?
Yeah. I do feel like I'm being blackmailed. It could be a very reasonable thing, I think. But it isn't. It isn't.
If Helen wanted to go to her husband's apartment to confiscate the photographs, she wouldn't have to go very far at all. In fact, they're right on the other side of this wall. That's right, her husband Richard lives right through that closet there. At one time, this was one big loft. But when the Selby marriage failed, Helen divided it into two by erecting what she calls her little Berlin Wall, the only thing that now stands between her and those photographs.
On the other side of the wall is the man
who holds these most personal and prized pictures, which were the result of her posing for them, taken in the context of a marriage. It's very unusual.
Most couples fight over a house, car,
I know.
children.
Isn't this awful? I mean, it's a house, and it's pictures. It's pictures. It's these little pictures that you're fighting over pictures. But the little picture that one day somebody will see and say, well, I'm not giving that girl a job.
Well, if her modeling image should suffer at all, Helen can always try her hand at the more vampy image she's toyed with and sing the song, which seems tailor-made for her husband.
It's not wise to hurt my feelings. You've been a bad boy. Bad boy.
Up next, the town keeping an eye on the bottom line. Cops get armed with tape measures to keep peace on the beach.
We don't want you. Go where you're wanted, not here.
I believe babe is a four-letter word. I believe that the person who said winning isn't everything never won anything.
I believe sweat is sexy.
I don't believe in liposuction. I don't believe blondes have more fun.
I believe in mass transit. I believe you should go big or stay home.
I believe there's an athlete in all of us.
Kelly LeBrock reveals the essence of man.
Hard to define, easy to know. When he holds you close, it's in the way he smells. Root, the essence of man. Come on, put it on.
Recently, I switched pain relievers from Tylenol to Advil. You see, I got these really pounding headaches, and I found 2 Advil worked better than 2 Tylenol gel caps. For my tough headaches, Advil just works better. Advil, advanced medicine for pain.
Homeowner update. Prime rate still lowest in years.
That's right. Homeowners, now's the perfect time to get a low fixed rate home equity loan from the Money Store and pay off those high interest credit card bills and personal loans. It's a great time to get rid of adjustable rate home equity loans too. Don't wait. For a low fixed rate that will never go up, call the Money Store right now. 1-800-LOAN-YES, the Money Store, where America goes for money.
Imagine the luscious taste of Quaker Natural in a low-fat cereal. Now there's original and new low-fat Quaker 100% natural.
Any way you crunch, Quaker Natural, you love it 100%.
New low-fat Quaker Natural tastes crunchy, irresistible, and it's low in fat. Try it on fresh fruit, yogurt, even out of the box.
Any way you crunch, Quaker Natural.
Original and new low-fat.
You love it 100%.
During Emporium's anniversary mattress sale on now, you'll find the lowest prices of the season on every Sealy, Serta, and Simmons mattress, including Beauty Rest, Posturepedic, and Perfect Sleep. Emporium gives you savings and service. When you buy your mattress, save 50% on any brass or white iron bed. And Emporium will even pick up your old mattress at no charge with delivery. Plus, you can defer billing with no payment and finance charges till August 1992. Hurry, our lowest mattress prices of the season ends Sunday at Emporium. Don't miss it.
25 years and running.
The Athletics are back in the game you've been waiting for. The season opener against the Kansas City Royals. Be there when the A's kick off their 25th year in Oakland. The season that could be their hottest ever. Channel 5 brings you the excitement live. Watch the sizzling season opener. The A's meet the Royals. Monday after the NCAA Championship on Channel 5, your Bay Area sports station.
25 years and running.
Battles about what women should wear on the beach just won't go away. Now the city council in St. Augustine, Florida, is trying to pass a decency law that defines exactly what women need to measure up. George Chiccarone visits the town that's watching the bottom line.
I believe it's our responsibility as Christians that we stand up against this filth that's trying to invade our community.
Okay, now what happens when a former professional wrestler turns risque restaurateur and he picks a sleepy Bible Belt bedroom community to do it? That's what.
We don't want you. Go where you're wanted, not here.
How does that make you feel? Not wanted.
You bet not wanted. All this began when John decided to open up a full-service restaurant in St. Augustine, Florida, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner with one big catch.
We feature as entertainment totally new dancers on stage, and we have a $5 cover charge.
We're just like a Denny's, but the only thing different is the uniforms.
The strongest thing they serve here is cola, and the buns are free.
Absolutely fabulous. We need this in North Carolina.
We don't have jumping alligators here, and our girls don't have large ears on them, but we're going to be one of the biggest tourist attractions ever to hit the state of Florida.
When this place first opened its doors and its employees dropped their pants and everything else, the conservative county commission down the road made no bones about how it feels about this establishment and its owner.
There's never been anything like this in this county, and we think it violates our community standards.
I think it would attract the types of people who would be sexually promiscuous and drug users, and those are the types of activities that will spread AIDS.
Councilwoman Linda Balsavage and the county administrator have already drawn up an ordinance which would prohibit forms of nudity in this beach community. Only in order to cover up the gals at this bacon and legs joint, it will also affect beachwear. In other words, it
defines very specifically what the buttocks is.
Indeed.
It appears that nudity as beauty is in the eye of the beholder, at least as far as this proposed ordinance is concerned, which brings us to a rather interesting question. If this is passed, just how are they going to determine who's too risque and who's okay?
This is a definition of the buttocks, the area at the rear of the human body which lies between two imaginary lines running parallel to the ground. The first, or the top of such lines, drawn at the top of the cleavage of the nates. Huh?
What? Cleavage of the nates?
Or the lowest point of the curvature of the fleshy protuberance.
Now, what is that?
That's the area which must be covered.
The purpose of the ordinance is it is to send a message of the types of businesses and the types of activities that we want and expect for our county.
The ordinance is expected to be voted on in a couple of weeks, and only then will we find out if indeed the county is able to deliver the ultimate body blow to this grandiose grappler, and with it, nip their so-called problem in the bud.
Another strange story of justice, this one in Hamilton, Ohio, where a 14-year-old junior high school student has been suspended in what could be America's most absurd drug bust. The crime doesn't sound like a crime at all. And little Mark tells us that the punishment is a bitter pill to swallow.
It is the shocking drug scandal that has divided a student body.
I thought the punishment was like too hard for her.
She should take punishment just like anybody else would have to.
No.
Yes, even Wilson Junior High School in conservative Hamilton, Ohio has been stunned by the epidemic.
There was a violation of the drug policy.
At the center of the controversy, 14-year-old Dana Merry.
I was aware of the drug policy, but I didn't think I could get in trouble for what I gave my friend.
But what was it? Crack? Coke? Heroin?
Tylenol.
Just Tylenol.
Well, she admitted it was Tylenol.
Yes, Dana's scandalous crime was supplying one of her friends with 2 over-the-counter Tylenol gel caps.
She had a headache.
But here at Wilson Junior High, pill possession policy has no pity. The penalty?
The penalty is 5 days out of school.
For 2 Tylenol?
We are trying to prevent drugs from coming into our schools.
It's bizarre, ridiculous.
It's unfair.
Just imagine, what if it was Sudafed? She would never get out.
Many of the local radio stations think Dana got a bad rap.
Well, listen up now, homie, and you can hear the rule of the way it is in Wilson. It's a junior high school. Headache medication can be used to break your tension, and Tylenol passed in the hole will get you a suspension.
We have a very firm policy. If there would be any pills taken, it has to be taken at the office with parental permission.
I didn't know non-prescription drugs were not allowed.
I asked her, I said, Dana, do you know that this was against the rules? And she said, no, she did not.
They had me empty out my purse and pockets.
I felt like that's treating her like a common criminal.
Rather than see Dana fiddling around at home during a 5-day suspension, her mother is taking the case to court.
We've hired a lawyer, Mike Shanks, to appeal it to the Common Pleas Court in order to keep Dana in school. Don't know what to do when I wanna ease my pain because they will suspend you if you bother to complain. Got foundations laid about the trouble that I'm in. Maybe I might switch to a low-dose anesthesia.
So the final battle of the gel caps is yet to be fought, but you can be sure students have learned their lesson.
Wilson Junior High, say no to Tylenol.
Still ahead, why Mike Douglas has become Hollywood royalty. When it comes to heat in Hollywood, the fire passes from father to son.
You put celluloid in our jeans, Dad.
Andre the Giant is a big man about town, but now his daughter brings him down to size.
He's my dad, but he isn't, you know.
And next, the fiery affair that became a mother's worst nightmare.
I got to hold her when she was about 7 hours old.
And later, we go to Russia, where there used to be bread lines, then came lines for McDonald's. We'll tell you what the Russians are waiting in line for now.
Want to lower your blood pressure? Have a banana. To prevent a stroke, eat lots of potatoes. You can even lower your cholesterol by snacking on popcorn. Want to know the secrets to really feeling good? Then you need to know what foods can help make you well and what foods can keep you healthy. That's why the editors of Prevention Magazine Health Books asked leading nutritionists for the foods and recipes that can actually prevent and even cure today's most worrisome illnesses and common health problems. Now it's all in one important book, The Healing Foods. I'm Joanne D'Agostino, nutritional consultant to Prevention Magazine Health Books. I'm also a registered nurse, so I know the healing foods can help dramatically improve your health and well-being. Over 450 pages documented by 180 doctors and nutritionists. Healing foods that can help prevent over 65 illnesses and conditions from colds to cholesterol, even heart disease and diabetes. You'll learn which tasty soups, delicious pastas, and hearty breads can actually help you lose weight, what fish dishes can help prevent arthritis, even a kind of cheesecake that will help fight osteoporosis, all in the Healing Foods.
Call now for the Healing Foods. Try it absolutely free for 21 days, 3 full weeks to learn how you can improve your health with food you like to eat. Then if you choose to keep it, we'll bill you in 3 easy installments of only $8.99.
And as a free gift, you'll get the special report from Prevention, Young Skin for Life, over 50 pages of beauty secrets and makeover advice on how to prevent and reverse the signs of aging without cosmetic surgery or artificial makeup.
Remember, you can try the Healing Foods free for 21 days, and the free guide to young-looking skin is yours to keep.
Call for the Healing Foods now. And by the way, an apple a day does keep the doctor away.
Call 1-800-247-8500. 1-800-247-8500.
Ladies, now you can look years younger in minutes by having lines, wrinkles, and puffiness seem to disappear with sudden change. In just minutes, see the years smoothed away. Not a miracle, not trick photography, it's sudden change. You'll look years younger in minutes.
Juice. Quiet, please.
Oh no, not here.
When allergies come on this strong, Benadryl comes on stronger.
With this ripe tomato, I'm going to show you how this new toothbrush can help take care of your gums while it takes care of your teeth. Introducing the revolutionary new Aquafresh Flex Brush. Only Flex Brush has a pressure-sensitive neck that bends and flexes as you brush. So no matter how you brush, you can see the new Flex Brush is gentle on your gums. And everybody knows healthy teeth need healthy gums. New Aquafresh Flex Brush for gentle dental care.
It used to be simple. 2 people met, married, and had a baby. But in San Francisco recently, the birth of 2 babies was anything but simple. At stake was a beautiful woman, a passionate love triangle, and a heartbroken mother. Mary Garafello reports on this very strange baby boom.
A baby is one of life's most precious gifts, a simple joy. But this angelic child was born of a complicated affair, a strange intersection.
where technology clashed head-on with passion. The baby was born to a mother we'll call Donna Ross and a man she loved who we'll call Bill Brown. We are not revealing his real identity in order to protect his other daughter and this child's biological sister. It all started when Donna wanted to be a surrogate mother and give a joyous gift of life to a couple who could not conceive. But what resulted was a botched-up affair that violated some of life's most intricate values: trust, faith, and love.
This was an altruistic thing to do to provide a child for a childless couple.
Back in 1986, Donna was hired by Bill and his wife to be a surrogate mother. It was a perfect match. The couple loved Donna, and Donna loved them. And for a cool 20 grand, 10 to Donna and 10 to an agency, Donna agreed to be artificially inseminated.
I was terribly excited. I felt like, oh, you know, someone likes me, someone really needs me, I can really do something here, they've chosen me. You know, I felt almost like I'd won some sort of contest.
For Donna, who was divorced and already raising a little girl, Bill and his wife represented the perfect couple. He, a successful businessman in San Francisco, his wife, a beautiful and athletic woman with an overpowering desire to be a mother. So much so, in fact, that when Donna announced she was pregnant, the couple brought their surrogate into their home so they could supervise the pregnancy.
They had this running joke that I was a farm girl with thick ankles, and, you know, although Donna's pretty and Donna's intelligent, she just isn't the woman that you are.
Not only did Donna and her daughter move in with Bill and his wife, but Bill hired Donna to be his personal assistant at work. And what happened next was any woman's worst nightmare.
When I first met him, I felt something, and there was an awful lot of eye contact between us. We went to polo matches. I was bought expensive dinners and lots of gifts. I was showered with gifts and told constantly, you know, that I was just a wonderful person for doing this.
Donna and Bill embarked upon a torrid affair, like the ones you read about. Everyone seemed to know Bill's dirty little secret except his wife. So Donna was pregnant, having a child for Bill and his wife. Bill was now her lover and doing some fast talking to justify the affair to Donna, his mistress.
What he did tell me was that they had had this, you know, problem with sex in there. When he initiated a sexual relationship, he told me that it had been a problem in their relationship because of the infertility, that, you know, because of all the procedures that she had had to go through to try and become pregnant and conceive a child.
And while her love for Bill was growing, so were her doubts about his love for her.
I was explaining to him, I'm your girlfriend and I'm having your baby, and I know that your marriage isn't stable. And he said, no, my marriage is perfectly stable, and basically put me back in my place as a surrogate. And, you know, you're under this contract. This is my child and it goes to my wife.
But the affair continued, and yet Donna had the baby and turned it over to Bill and his wife.
She came into the world into her adopted mother's arms, and I got to hold her when she was about 7 hours old.
Donna held on to the hope that she, Bill, and the new baby would someday be a family.
He told me, you know, I want you to be pregnant.
And that's exactly what happened. Donna got pregnant again, this time by natural intercourse, and Bill's wife got wise. She kicked her husband out, and a few months later, Donna gave birth to another daughter. So in effect, two biological sisters are part of different families.
Now, just when you think this story gets about as bizarre as it can be, it gets even worse. Not only did Donna become a surrogate mother and then give up her child, and not only did she have an affair with the child's biological father, but Donna says Bill confessed to her she wasn't the only surrogate mother he'd had an affair with.
Donna says before she came into the picture, Bill and his wife had called upon the birthing services of another surrogate. And Donna will never forget the night Bill looked into her eyes and said,
well, there's something I need to tell you. You know, we had another surrogate who ended up having fertility problems, and I had a relationship with her. It made me feel cheapened.
Can I ask you then about the alleged affair with the other surrogate woman you got involved with? I believe her name was Madonna.
I really, as I said, I would hope that you'd respect my request not to delve into personal lives. I've made mistakes, as I said, that I regret, but my personal life, I think, out of respect for my daughter, should be left out of this. Okay? I really need to go. Thanks.
In an on-camera interview with A Current Affair, Bill refused to admit he had a relationship with the first surrogate mother. But off-camera, Bill told me he did have sexual intercourse with that surrogate, but says it was at her insistence because artificial insemination just wasn't working.
Maybe there is just this bond that this man is attracted to these women that are going to bear children for him.
Meanwhile, Donna is suing for child support. But Bill says no blood tests have been done to prove the second daughter is really his.
I'm trying not to be selfish, God. If I could return back the hands of time, I would do it. I'm doing everything I possibly can. I mean, I'm just, agonizing over doing the right thing. And somebody tell me what the right thing to do is.
Donna says she doesn't buy any of Bill's lame excuses. She fears the daughter she gave up isn't anything but a happy family environment, since her adoptive mother and father are now separated. Donna's prepared to fight for visitation rights. She wants her daughter growing up knowing her biological sister.
There's no way I can give her up. I'm her mother. I'm her mother. I realize that she's her own person, but she came through me, and there are certain things that I can offer her as her mother that no one else can.
But for now, Donna is like the restless ocean that surrounds her. She prays they will all reach a happy solution about their children out of court. Donna isn't certain how far she can go with her legal action, but she is certain she will never again violate motherhood.
You could never buy another child from me. You could never breed me again and pay me for it. That's not something I would ever do. But my daughter is worth so much more than $10,000. It's a disgrace to think that I actually fell for it.
Up next, the secrets of Hollywood's sexiest plan.
We might just have to live out our sexual lives and fantasies through films.
Michael Douglas reveals what's in his genes.
I'm Bobby McFerrin, here at one of my favorite places in the city, the San Francisco Conservatory of Music. The excitement of music making is evident everywhere you go. It is a vibrant place where many of the Bay Area's finest classical musicians teach, perform, and study. The conservatory is an important resource for music lovers of all ages. Concerts are given here throughout the year, and music classes and lessons are available for both adults and children. To find out more about the conservatory, call 564-8086 and make music a part of your life.
In the third world, every minute of every day, a child under the age of 6 goes totally and irreversibly blind. The cause? Nutritional blindness, a lack of vitamin A. One of these, a megadose of vitamin A, can halt the disease. Every dollar you give to the Helen Keller International Child Sight Program provides a young boy or girl with this sight-preserving vitamin and saves one more child from a life of blindness. Nutritional blindness has trapped so many children in a world without sight. This year, another 500,000 children will meet the same tragic fate unless caring people like you help. Please call. $1 a child is all it costs. A gift of $20 can save the sight of as many as 20 boys and girls. Pick up your phone and tell the operator how many youngsters you want to help. Remember, they can't wait long. Call now. These kids don't have a minute to lose.
Basic Instinct, starring Michael Douglas, has been breaking box office records since it opened. It's just the latest triumph for Hollywood's hottest showbiz family. Gene Wolfe goes inside the Douglas dynasty.
I had great anger in me all my life and still have. I used it in roles that I've played. You see it in imitations that people do of me. Oh, you get that, is that anger.
The guy with the jutting jaw and the cleft in his chin is a legend here in Hollywood.
and the legend continues. Kirk Douglas has handed down some of the riveting and sensual power that makes him unforgettable on the screen. Kirk is the big daddy of the Douglas dynasty.
I advise my four sons never to go into this profession. You see what impact I have. None of them paid any attention to me because it is so difficult. It's so poignant. It's so filled with rejection.
Peter and Joel Douglas worked behind the camera. But it was Kirk's oldest son, Michael, whose career exploded just like his father's when he started playing bad guys with sex appeal.
The adulterer in Fatal Attraction, the crooked investment banker in Wall Street, the crooked cop in Black Rain and War of the Roses. Come on, smash my face. Come on, you want to smash my face? I think it was probably a reaction from playing so many nice guys earlier in my career, and it was I just find these characters more interesting.
But Michael went back to nice in Shining Through. In fact, he was a hero. Then Michael pushed the dark and sensuous side of his image to the limit in Basic Instinct. Michael told me the raw sexuality on the screen may be giving audiences a safe substitute for the real thing.
Maybe in this no generation days when you can't do anything, we might just have to live out our sexual lives and fantasies through films.
Whatever role he plays, Michael knows the source of his intensity and his love of acting.
You put celluloid in our genes, Dad, and on behalf of all of your sons, I thank you for that.
Now there's another Douglas on the screen, Eric. He has two tough acts to follow, his father and his brother. If he's afraid of the competition, he's not showing it. In Yellow on HBO, he went head-to-head with Kirk.
You let fear get the better of you, and everybody knows it.
That is what I'm really guilty of, isn't it, Father? Huh? That the whole world knows that the son of the great General Calthrop is afraid to die.
When you start auditioning, I would not say it's a help to be Kirk Douglas' son. What happens is that people have all these images in their minds when they meet you. So you got to cut through a lot of that crap in order to get to who you are.
You know that isn't true.
Like Michael and his other brothers, Eric has had his rebellion when he was charged with assaulting a police officer. That charge has since been dropped.
We're more exposed. We're more in the public eye. We have the same problems that everybody else has. It's just that we're more visible, and sometimes that causes them.
Has Michael given you advice about acting and about the business?
At one point in life, he said, look at me, I'm in my early 40s, because there's a big age difference between us. And he said, and I still have 3 words in front of my name.
Those 3 words are?
Kirk Douglas' son.
Coming up, the woman taking wrestling champ Andre the Giant to the mat.
He's missing out on a wonderful child.
Your loan is still under review.
No news yet, Mr. C.
Maybe next week we'll have an answer.
A lot of people promise low fixed rate home equity loans. The money store delivers them, just like we've been doing for 25 years. Call 1-800-LOAN-YES day or night. We won't keep you waiting long for your answer or your money. For a low fixed rate home equity loan without the runaround, call the money store right now. 1-800-LOAN-YES. The money store where America goes for money.
25 years and running.
The Athletics are back in the game you've been waiting for. The season opener against the Kansas City Royals. Be there when the A's kick off their 25th year in Oakland. The season that could be their hottest ever. Channel 5 brings you the excitement live. Watch the sizzling season opener. The A's meet the Royals. Monday after the NCAA Championship on Channel 5, your Bay Area sports station.
25 years and running.
What is Vibrance? Vibrance is your hair full of life. Vibrance is new shampoos and new conditioners. Vibrance infuses each strand with a healthier life, with deeper shine, livelier color, and a fullness you never had before. When your hair's this full of life, it's new Vibrance.
Which plant food is best for you?
I get fantastic results with Miracle Grow.
Miracle Grow proved one thing to me. When you use a better plant food, you get better flowers.
Miracle Grow has got them all beat.
You'll get more flowers and more vegetables when you use Miracle Grow.
Now back pain doesn't have to ruin another night's sleep. Introducing new Doan's PM. Doan's starts with a unique pain reliever these brands don't have, then adds a second ingredient to help you sleep. New Doan's PM for nighttime back pain.
Big-name wrestlers don't come any bigger than Andre the Giant, but the king-size star has a small problem. The daughter he hasn't seen in a long time. Bill McGowan reports on the problems of this big daddy.
Andre the Giant, the most recognizable pro wrestler in the world. Over the last 12 years, this 7-foot, 500-pound mountain of a man has been successfully slamming his opponents. But the daughter he hardly knows says he's been squeezing the love out of her heart.
He's like kind of a stranger in a way. It's like I met him like a couple of times, and I know I'll meet him again, at least, and it'll just be like a relationship that doesn't really grow that much.
He's missing out on a wonderful child. You know, he has built his entire career around how much he loves children.
Jean Christensen is Robin's mother. She thinks that the way the larger-than-life wrestler has treated their daughter is nothing short of disgraceful.
He has seen her once as an infant. He saw her when she was about 18 months old. He saw her again when she was 4, and he saw her again in November of '91 for 5 minutes.
It's just kind of like, oh, he's my dad, you know. We have like a relationship that, you know, it's like he's my dad, but he isn't, you know. It's like he's really never there.
Jean met Andre back in 1974 while doing public relations for wrestling.
There was no spark there. Believe it or not, it was like, oh, he was really surprised to be given something and not have somebody ask something in return. It was just somebody I'd run into. And, you know, eventually, yes, there was that nod, nod, winky, winky thing going on, you know, and it was really nice. I'm a tall person, and putting on my high heels, it makes me about 6'3", and it was the first man I had met that I could wear my highest heels around and still look way up at.
Jean and Andre might have only gone one round, but Jean was in for a big surprise.
And then I found out I was pregnant. I was told prior to this happening that he was sterile.
It took some legal wrestling in court to drag the quarter-ton champ to a doctor for the all-important blood test.
At first he didn't believe that I was his daughter because, you know, it's like, I don't know what was going through his mind then, but then, you know, he found out they got a blood test, and I think we had the same blood type or something.
After years of asking for child support, Jean and her daughter received an award of $750 a month from a man who was worth millions. And just last fall, it was up to $1,000 a month.
You know, it isn't courts and legal systems, it's the people that he set up around himself, the people that lead him by the nose. They're only out for their own, what they can get, and they really don't care about this child, and they really don't care about his personal life or his feelings.
After all that 12-year-old Robin has been through, she has managed to keep a little girl charm about her famous father.
When my friends find out, you know, they're like, no, and I bring a picture, and they see it, and they're like, oh, cool, and everything. And
but sadly, the bad outweighs the good.
if you're like around, you know, and there's a lot of people with fathers there, and sometimes you wish you had one. If I tell my kids, you know, who my father is, and they're like, don't believe me, I can pull out all these old pictures and cards and everything like that, it'll probably be a lot easier that way.
When we come back, the secrets of Russian sex shops plus America's Most Married take the plunge again.
Marriage is the greatest adventure next to death. Ka-chung.
Start healing your dry skin from the inside out with Jergens Advanced Therapy Lotions. Jergens penetrates to attract your body's inner moisture, so it heals dryness from the inside out. Introduce your skin to Jergens.
Dieters have different needs, so Accutrim created different formulas.
My appetite was huge until Accutrim Maximum Strength.
I'd lose my willpower after 3 until I found late day.
I'd eat all day without Accutrim 16-hour.
Accutrim, one is right for you.
Kelly LeBrock reveals the essence of man.
Hard to define, easy to know. When he holds you close, it's in the way he smells. Root, the essence of man. Come on, put it on.
How fast does Anbesol start to relieve toothache pain? Before you can say...
Anbesol.
Denture pain? Before you can say...
Anbesol.
Relieve minor mouth pain on contact with Anbesol in regular or maximum strength.
In just a minute, we'll tell you what Russians are waiting in line for these days. But first, Linda Essex thinks marriage is a wonderful thing, and she should know. She's been down the aisle more than 20 times. Now she's finally met a man who's got a lot in common with her. George Chicharone went along on their date with destiny.
When we last left Linda Essex, the world's most married woman, she was I-doing under a clothesline in her hometown of Anderson, Indiana for the time. But sorry, pal.
No, it never worked out. I really wished it had have.
Now she's looking for number 23. Then there's Scotty Wolf, who's the world's most married man. You see, he's 2 said I do till he's blue, and he's 82.
I don't shack up. I marry him.
Indeed. Scotty, a master of multiple marriages, has been hitched and unhitched 27 times. He's left some.
She'd eat sunflower seeds in bed.
And some have left him.
She had to let me have sex as many times as I wanted. It was 8 times.
In one day?
Yeah.
Well, you've got to figure at least the 2 have a lot in common.
And what a better place than Las Vegas, a place where expectations are high and buffet lines are long, where dreams and misery meet, for these 2 to come together for the ultimate gamble.
Now, no one was talking wedding yet, though Scotty seemed to like the idea, I think.
Marriage is the greatest adventure next to death.
Let the date begin, as they started their day the Liberace way.
Oh, Liberace Museum. Okay.
Inside, they were delighted as Liberace's sister-in-law, Dora, told tales of the master.
And he came out in a big Fabergé Easter egg, then came down the stairs with his costume. So it was quite an event.
I thought he only had old cars.
Joan Collins was married here. Well, they don't have anything like that back in Indiana.
Keep the change.
Okay, well, thank you, but...
You need another $1.
Now, I'm no expert, but I had a gut feeling that something was starting to happen, as Scotty was getting a bit frisky.
Look at this happy couple. Is that something?
As night fell and Vegas lit up, well, it just doesn't get much better than this.
If ever I would leave you, it wouldn't be at the Dunes Hotel. Have a wonderful evening together, and who knows what may happen in the future.
I think Bob got to them because Scotty made a brief stop, and before anyone could say cubic zirconia, the 2 were sharing yet another sacred moment.
With this ring, I will wed. When the time comes, if I'm not dead.
The 2 planned to break all records by marrying each other May 30th at the Statue of Liberty, and I have a feeling we'll be there. After all, we're partly to blame.
Current affair, what a gift.
Now, here's what's coming up next weekend on A Current Affair Extra. A Hollywood daredevil's world goes spinning out of control when he's hired to perform the helicopter stunt of his life.
They were life and death movements.
Plus, CNC Music Factory's Zelma Davis goes one-on-one for the first time about the attacks on her singing.
I'm not going to be quiet anymore, and I'm not gonna be just sit down and let people attack me.
That story and lots more next weekend. And here's what's coming up Monday on A Current Affair.
Exclusive, the inside story of the suicide that rocked Hollywood's Van Dyke family. The tragic fall of daughter Kelly into the world of porn and drugs. The sordid sex tape made hours before she took her life. And Kelly's last desperate phone call to her helpless husband.
I love you, Kelly.
Now, for the first time, Kelly's grieving family speaks. Exclusive, the entire story, Fallen Angel.
That's Monday on A Current Affair. Now that the Cold War is over, the Russians are turning red hot. The comrades who used to wait in line for bread are spending their time in local sex shops. Robin Dorian tells us it's from Russia with lust.
We are really overloaded here from morning to night. You saw it yourself. The visitors are mostly men, though we have very many women, too.
The Moscow store called Intim is quite different from its peep shop counterparts in the West. It is located inside of a health clinic and is staffed by a group of doctors who take a very clinical approach to selling erotic art, lingerie, and sex paraphernalia.
We do not want to become a sex shop. We want to become a sort of a drugstore where you can buy intimate items like these. They're often vital, as medication is.
But as vital as these items may be, it will take a real capitalist to afford the new sex shop. Most items cost more than the average monthly salary of 960 rubles, about $9. And even though that's a lot of money to most Russians, they still want to buy the intimate items at Intim.
I think there should be something like this around here. Western countries have them. We need them too.
So the next time you see a line around the block in Russia, it may be leading to something cheesier than a Big Mac.
That's all for now. Thanks for being with us, everyone. See you next time.